trees. The heart of our forests. They provide shelter, food, and just like us, they breathe. They come in all different types, shapes, and hide-and-seek sizes.
Trees are one of the most important parts of our ecosystem. They can communicate with each other and the living things that surround them. Hi, tree. So what are they saying? How can we protect them? And which ones have needles and which ones have leaves? Well, we're about to find out, because today we're talking trees!
Today, we're thankful to find ourselves at Asitu'lɨsk, an Indigenous education center and ancient forest on the ancestral land of the Mi'kmaq, known as Mi'kmaqi. There are 160 acres of forest and trees here, which means we've got a lot to learn. And to help us, we're first speaking with Mi'kmaq Project Coordinator and Cultural Educator, Jill Francis.
Thanks so much for talking to me today about trees.
Thanks for asking me to.
Well, I have so many questions, so we'll start with the basics. I've always really struggled with tree identification. I see coniferous and deciduous a lot. What exactly is the difference between the two?
I keep them really simple, and so when I think about deciduous, they lose their leaves.
Okay.
So we would have a maple. And you know, they get really pretty in the fall and turn beautiful colors and their leaves drop. Deciduous. And then coniferous, they have cones. So our cone bears, evergreens, and so lots of those around here as well.
What are some very common trees to this area that we can kind of learn to identify to kind of get us on our identification education trip?
Some of the ones I think that are easy to start off with, and we see quite a bit, are those cone bears. For the balsam fir and the hemlock, they're really very similar. With the hemlock needles, they're rounded, they're very short, flat. If you take that needle off, it'll actually have a little stem. The balsam fir needle will actually have a suction cup end and be stuck right to the branch. And balsam fir needles are usually longer. One thing that I've learned to tell balsam fir with, I go right to the bark. You're gonna start to see bubbles on the trunk, and that is full of sap. It's something that's used for medicine. So that's usually what I'm looking for when I look for a balsam fir.
I keep reading books that say it's easy to identify something if it's near this tree or that tree. So how would you say tree identification helps us learn the environment that we're in?
Everything's connected, and in Mi'kmaq, that is Emsidnogama. Everybody and everything is connected. And so that's really looking at the soil, even the geography. You can start there, and the air that's around you. We tend to have very acidic soil in Nova Scotia, and especially sort of these areas. And so those kind of plants would grow there, which attract certain kind of animals to that area, depending on what they eat. Even the birds that we're hearing, they would come to certain trees because they want to be at a certain height, or they may want a certain species that are easier, or a dead tree or something like that would be easier to get into. So it's all connected.
So like even if you're like trying to find a specific bird, you can be like, oh, well, they're usually prone to, I wouldn't know.
Giant maple trees.
Oh, giant maple trees. I mean, if I were a bird, I would 100% live in this tree.
See?
It's clear just by standing here that the forest at Asitu'lɨsk is very unique. And to help us learn more, we'd love to also welcome Asitu'lɨsk Site Coordinator, Leah Morris.
I was hoping you could give me a brief history of Asitu'lɨsk.
Yeah, absolutely. For thousands of years, the Mi'kmaq actually cared for this particular land.
Mm-hmm.
And in about 1840, the Wenzel family settled here, and they actually used the land for milling, but they did it in a sustainable way, so for forestry and agriculture. About 2021, Olneyang Education Center, through a land back situation, have taken on the responsibility of caring for the land further. And now we are taking care of it as Olneyang, and the name has changed to Asitu'lɨsk.
Asitu'lɨsk.
It means that which gives you balance.
My understanding is there's some very special trees here. I think we're standing in front of one right now.
We are. This is grandmother maple. She is amazing. She is over 500 years old, and is a source for many to come and sit with her to heal and reflect, just to relax. And as you can tell, there's a lot of red, and these red ties here are tobacco ties. Often guests will use tobacco to put their prayers and intentions in, and they offer it to Grandmother Maple to take up to the spirit world.
Can you tell me more about where we are right now?
We are in our hemlock grove, so it's an old growth hemlock forest. You might have noticed once we walked in here, the temperature drops.
Yes.
Yeah, and in the
very
winter
breezy.
it goes up. There's a high canopy that actually holds in a lot of its life underneath it.
Like a microclimate almost.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I was hoping that you could speak to how trees are important also for culture as much as they are the environment.
When we think about forest, that's identity and that's home for Mi'kmaq people. Some trees have very specific sort of cultural traditions. One that I've been very fortunate to be able to learn from my father, John Andrew Francis, and he made this basket here, is basket making. It's known as a pack basket, so obviously very backpack-like.
Yeah.
The word that I was taught for these from my father is hunnebik.
Hunnebik.
And this is made out of, the tree is a white ash.
Okay.
Has a really neat bark. It looks like a diamond pattern on it. You have to cut that tree down and quarter it, and then you have to, pound it. A lot of work, a lot of labor involved. And then you weave these baskets. And I'm making it sound really, really easy because there's a lot of steps in there and a lot of different things you have to do.
No, I'm sure I could pick it up right away.
No problem. That's just one of the cultural ways that I know to use
It's stunning.
white ash trees.
From resources to culture to the air we breathe, trees are always providing. And yet, they're in more danger now than they may have ever been. The forest fires of 2023 were the worst in Nova Scotia's history. They took approximately 25,000 hectares of forest and over 200 homes. It was a stark reminder that climate change is here. It's unforgiving, and that we have a lot to protect.
I think after the forest fires that we saw last year, a lot of people are really looking to help either the environment or improve just their ways of thinking about caring for the environment around them. Do you know of any practices that people can use for conservationism?
There's Mi'kmaq values that we think about in terms of resources all around and thinking about that and your place in the world. And so one of the ones that I've learned about is Netugulimp. And Netugulimp is about practicing a way of being and your place in, we talked about Emsidnogama, and so your place in that, and you're part of nature, but it's also when you do harvest that you're taking only what you need, and when you take that you give thanks and you use what you take.
When you say giving thanks to the forest, how would one go about that?
Oh, well, that's an interesting question. I mean, there's very ceremonial type and tobacco offerings are often given. You could sing a song, you could take out a hair, if you don't have those things on you. I think it's more about the stopping and thinking about what you're doing and remembering your place in that circle, which is Emsidnogama.
Oh, wow. And it makes sense. The more conscious we are of our actions, the more thanks we give and the more we pay attention to our effects on everything around us.
Respect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another one, Eduabdumump, and it's the two-eyed seeing. It's a concept from elders Albert and Medina Marshall. And so it's about this looking at things from two different worldviews, bringing Western ideas and notions and learnings, and then Mi'kmaq worldviews and science to figure out the best path forward from that.
I think a lot of people are finding it hard to find optimism when they're looking at the environment right now, and I'm wondering how you two feel. Do you see hope in our environmental future?
I absolutely do have hope, especially here at Asitu'lɨsk, like you said. It's a beautiful place. It's a place for healing. It's a place to learn. It shows the stewardship of the land, and we are taking the right steps. to respect the land and to make sure that it's here for the next 7 generations.
The work that I do working with NSCC at the Center for Forest Innovation and bringing Mi'kmaq values into that space and just realizing that people are ready for the new perspectives and they want to learn old ways in a new way, that's what gives me hope.
There is hope for our forests. Our trees are at risk, but we can thank them by caring for them together as they do for us. The trees are speaking loud and clear, and what we need to do is listen.